Okay, we will now reconvene from closed session, and Ms. Von Moolen, would you please report from closed session?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board met in closed session for real property negotiations pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 and took no reportable action.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll have approval of the minutes for May 2021 meeting. Is there any discussion from the board?
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all right. Then I need to get we got the motion, we have the first and the second, and will the clerk please take roll call?
Director Nelson? Director Nelson, are you there?
He's just getting back to his room.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back. Director Sierra?
Aye.
Clark? Director Clark? Director Clark, you're muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Julian?
Aye.
Director Osborne?
Aye.
Director Murillo?
Aye.
Director Patino?
Aye.
Director Infante?
Aye.
Director Hart?
Aye.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
One more call for Director Nelson.
Aye.
Thank you. And Chair Perotti.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll have, the next item is the director's report.
Oh, no. Chair Perotti, the next item would be the administrative items.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that. The administrative items. Yes. Does the board wish to pull any of these items? I was jumping the gun here. I apologize.
Madam Chair, this is Rachel Van Mollem, if anyone can't see me. There's just a minor change to item E4. It doesn't need to be pulled, but I just wanted to make the board aware. On item 2B, it reads that the board is to adopt a salary resolution amending the classification and salary plan to adjust the salary for all staff based on collective bargaining agreements and the management personnel benefits resolution. That's all accurate, but there's a few words after that that says that it to be scheduled to be approved by your board today, June 17th, 2021, and that's actually an error. The collective bargaining agreements and management personnel benefits resolution have already been approved by your board, so they're existing. So you can just delete the end of that sentence. It's still adequately noticed for taking action today.
All right, thank you for that.
And Madam Chair, since I have the microphone, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce Deputy County Counsel Jenna Richardson. As I transition to County Counsel on June 28th, Ms. Richardson's become the primary attorney for APCD, and she's worked for County Counsel since 2012. She's expertise in land use and environmental regulations. For the past 2 years, she's been my partner with APCD and working with the staff, has been the primary for grants as well as primary for enforcement. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, back to the board. Do they wish to pull any items from the administrative agenda? No, not seeing anything. Okay. Is there any public comment? Oh, excuse me? Oh, okay. All right. Please, go ahead.
Is it for me?
Yep.
Okay. I just was looking at, I was pulling had a question about E1.
Okay.
Administrative item E1, notice of violation report. Receive and file the summary of notices and violations issued and penalty revenue received during the month of May 2021.
I just had a question about looking at the various penalties that were charged to different operators that failed to file their annual report. And it seemed that the fee schedule varied depending on who it was. And I was just curious from staff on how we come to that conclusion. It ranges from $250 to $1,000. And just wanted a little bit to understand that a little bit better.
Yes, thank you, Director Nelson, for pulling that. It's based on the times that company or that source has missed the annual report. For the initial failure to submit, it's a $250 fine, and then subsequent years, it goes up from there.
Okay, so it's not a discretionary decision on what you really charge them. It's just according to the table, if you will.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I don't need a separate vote or anything for that. I was just curious.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
I see no other hands up.
Okay, what about public comment? Do we have any public comment?
We received no public comment.
Okay, then I'm looking for a motion.
So move, Julian.
Second Hartman.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Nelson,
Aye.
Sierra,
Aye.
Clark, Director Clark, Director Julian.
Aye.
Oh, thank you, Director Clark. Director Julian,
Aye.
Osborne,
Aye.
Murillo,
Aye.
Latino,
Aye.
Infante,
Aye.
Hart,
Aye.
Hartman,
Aye.
and Chair Perotti.
Aye. Okay, now it will be the director's report. Sorry about that.
Not a problem at all. I have two items today that I wanted to bring to your attention, and one relates to the annual reports that Director Nelson was questioning as far as how the NOV settlement is determined. But I just wanted to give a little bit of update on the process that we use for the annual reports. As a bit of background, the annual reports are required for most of our permitted facilities. We have 1,362 permitted facilities throughout the region, and roughly 925 are required to submit annual reports. These reports are required to document compliance with the terms of the permit, including emission limits, operational restrictions, monitoring, and record keeping for the entire calendar year. Annual reports are due each year on March 1st, 2020, well, for this year, 2021, and that is for all the records that were kept during the 2020 calendar year. For the last 3 years, we've implemented a new process for timely review of the annual reports to ensure compliance with our permit conditions. The new process has also resulted in an improvement of on-time submittals of the annual reports. For reference, when we started this in 2018 calendar year, there were 163 violations that were issued for late annual reports, about 17% of our permitted facilities. For 2019, it dropped from 163 down to 129 violations for late reports, about 13% of our facilities. And then 2020, we are down to 60 NOVs. So with this process, this notification process, we've been able to secure more timely feedback from all of our sources on this critical information. In December of every year, we issue a courtesy reminder letter to all the sources with the forms that are mailed out to the permitted facilities. And new this year, we also follow it up with 2 separate emails, just keeping it on everyone's top of their mind. With an assistance of a compliance intern, the district is able to review their annual reports within a few months of the due date, rather than waiting until the next inspection is due. This effort helps the district better ensure the permit conditions are being adhered to by all local sources. So a 3-year process has really done a lot for us to get the annual report information back in a timely way. The next item deals with Cali VIP. At our last meeting in May, your board approved an agreement to implement the California Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Project Rebate Program for rapid expansion of electric vehicle charging stations throughout the region. This is a first-come, first-served program, and it offers incentives for installation of level 2 chargers and as well as DC fast chargers. Throughout Santa Barbara County, nearly $5 million will be awarded through this rebate program. We are getting close to the launch date, and the district is working alongside of C5 to get the word out and to ensure that projects are ready to go once they call for applications. I wanted to bring this to your attention today because in some areas of the state where they've already implemented the Cali VIP program, monies have been committed to the same day the program was launched. So to give you an idea of the amount of rebates that are available, for level 2 chargers, the base rebate is $3,500. You get an additional $500 if you're in a low-income community, and an additional $2,000 if you're a multi-unit dwelling site. For the DC fast charger rebate, the rebates range based on the kilowatts provided. If it's a DC fast charger that's below 100 kilowatts, you can receive $30,000. If you're above 100 kilowatts, you can receive $60,000 for the installation. And once again, if you're in a low-income community, there's an additional $10,000 for both of those. So in addition to our direct mailings, social media, we'll be issuing a joint news release soon to announce a July 15th workshop, and then the program launch date of July 27th. During the workshop, the main focus will be providing guidance on how to apply. District staff are available, working through this entire timeline to assist all applicants in gathering information to submit your application. So in addition to working with SB CAG's committees and the Santa Barbara County Regional Climate Collaborative, we have also been reaching out to local government agencies, public and private fleets, schools, charging station vendors, car dealerships, nonprofits, and local businesses. We're going to send a news release soon, which will reach approximately 200 interested individuals, as well as the local media to help spread the word. But any help that any of our board members can do to help get the word out within your communities would greatly assist our efforts. So thank you.
Thank you for that so much. Okay, public comment. The next item is public comment. Now is the time for members of the public to speak on items. Excuse me.
Director Sierra has her hand.
Okay, go ahead, Director Sierra.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I was struggling to find my little wavy hand, so I apologize. Thank you. I just had a question and I guess a suggestion, a hopeful suggestion, going back to the violations, the list of violations and how you handle it, how you determine what the penalties are. I've been reading in the paper that Central Coast Ag, who has the numerous violations on their diesel generators that are carcinogenic and are blowing into my town of Buellton, they are not shutting down any of their equipment because it would impact them financially during harvest. So they are continuing to go full steam ahead. And these chemicals are still coming into our town. We have residents that live a half a mile away. I'm really, really hoping that when you negotiate settlement for these violations, that APCD goes for the maximum amount of penalties for this company that is more interested in their bottom line, their dollars, than the health of my community. I just would really hope that APCD doesn't negotiate this down to just a slap on the wrist, because their total disregard for my community just gets me angry. Our council is meeting next week to determine what formal action our city will take. But I really appreciate you listening to me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sierra.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, do we have any other hands up? I'm not missing anybody.
Director Hartman.
Oh, right next to me.
Yes, I had, I second what Director Sierra said. And I also had a question. Could you get us a press release or something that we could send out easily in newsletters about the electric charging station?
Definitely. We'll make that available to you and all the other board members.
That'd be
as well.
great. Yeah.
And Director Nelson has his hand up.
Go ahead, Director Nelson.
Yeah, thank you. I'm concerned about, I just heard from Director Sierra, so I don't know if we can talk about that case in particular here in open session or whatnot, but I think it does connect to the violations. I looked at the May report, and I don't see any ongoing violations on the May report. So I guess I'm kind of curious on what that situation is, and to the extent that it's okay for you to speak about it in your director's report, I think it'd be helpful for the whole entire district to understand what's going on there.
It was discussed during our last meeting in May, and it was included in our NOV report. There was, I don't recall, I think there were 16 violations. I'm not quite sure exactly how many violations were included in that report for Central Coast Agriculture.
I'm looking at the May report, and there's nothing on there. And if it's an ongoing, does it only happen once?
It was in, not in this board meeting packet, it was in the board meeting packet for our May board meeting, which would have been the March and April NOV summary reports.
Well, I guess what I'm getting to is usually there's a violation and they stop, right? And then we go back out and check. But if what Director Sierra is saying is that they said, no, we're not going to stop.
They were.
Well, and Madam Chair, this is Rachel Van Wellen, I'll just step in. So,
Of course.
Since this item is not listed on the violation report for this item, it's okay to ask a general question, but I did want to just clarify that enforcement is under the authority of the control officer, and since those are existing NOVs and are in process, I'm signaling to her across the table, since you can't see it, to just stick to the exact question, but it has to be pretty narrow. So I just wanted you to let you know that.
I guess here's my direct question is, when we have a violation, how often do we go out again to check whether the violation has been abated? And if it hasn't been abated, what are the next steps that we take? Do we issue additional violations? Do we take other actions that the district has? So that's what I'm curious about.
Okay, when we have violations, we are able to, go through our investigative work and get all the information necessary to conclude that a violation is existing. We then issue a notice of violation. Once it's complied with, once the source has been able to bring that into compliance, we then go forward with our mutual settlement program. We're doing that with 16 of the generators which were removed from CCA at that facility. They have elected to continue operating 5 additional generators on site, and we are working with them on bringing that to resolution and developing a compliance agreement with them now to bring them into compliance. Ultimately, all of those generators will no longer be operating.
They have been, one of them's been operating over 300 days though, and none of this was caught until recently. So I believe that the penalties, when you do these negotiations, which they say they will not even start until August, that APCD holds a really firm line on this one.
I appreciate the direction to hold a firm line. We are taking this extremely seriously and working with them through the mutual settlement program on those engines that have been complied with, and also working closely with them to try to bring their compliance agreement in sync in time frame as we work through the settlement. Caitlin McNally, my compliance manager, is on the call. She can provide additional information if that would be beneficial for the board.
If you're able to do that, that would be great.
Madam Chair, members of the board, so since we're not agendized to talk about this specific item and it's not part of this violation report, what I'd recommend is you could direct staff to come back with specifics, although again, the jurisdiction of this board on enforcement is very limited. It's really within the discretion of the control officer. So you can receive information as you do with the violation report, and then once it's completed, you can receive that information. So I just wanted you to know the boundaries of what this board can do. But again, I'm concerned about too much discussion on this topic since it's not specifically agendized or in this violation report.
Perhaps what we can do going forward is have informational item before your board, which outlines our compliance program and the steps we take when we do discover a violation and bringing that to compliance, or if it's an ongoing, what options we have.
I think that would be helpful, very helpful.
Rather than discussing this item any longer.
Okay,
Okay.
good. I'm
Thank
good
you.
with that. Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Thanks, Caitlin, for being available, but we're going to hold off at this point.
Right, thank you. Okay, at this point, we're going to have public comment on anything that's not on this agenda.
Chair Perotti, we received one public comment that's been distributed to all board members and
we got
posted
that.
on the APCD website.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think it's time to move on to discussion items. H1, Clean Air Room Pilot Program.
Discussion item H1, Clean Air Room Pilot Program. Adopt a resolution authorizing the district to establish and implement the Clean Air Rooms Pilot Program.
Thank
All
you.
right, this afternoon, we're going to have Liz Bantalon, our Public Information Officer, present. And what I'm excited to see in the board's response to this concept that Liz has been working on for a while now. It's especially relevant when our region is impacted by wildfire smoke, and she hits on that throughout the presentation. And I just wanted to bring it to top of all of our minds right now, because even though the fires are occurring as far away as Arizona, we're actually experiencing slightly elevated particulate matter levels throughout our region yesterday and today. So, Liz, please proceed.
Great, can you hear me okay? Should have practiced with my mask on. Good afternoon, Chair Perotti and board members. I'm glad to be here with you today. Like Erin said, I'm Liz Vantalon, the district's Public Information Officer. I'm going to go over this proposed program with you over the next 11 slides. Just a quick funny note, last June, you may remember when I last presented to you, the fire alarm went off in this building, so hopefully this can go a little more smoothly. You'll notice throughout the presentation that I've included photos from various smoke events that have occurred in Santa Barbara County over the years. This photo is from APCD's office in 2017 during the Whittier fire. So just to give you a quick overview of what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to talk about some background information about wildfire smoke and health, associated impacts to Santa Barbara County, our agency's longstanding community outreach on smoke and air quality. I'm also going to share general information about air purifiers and our related desire to implement this program, our proposed communities for this pilot program, how the program would work should your board approve it today, the outreach that we would conduct to promote the program and this concept in general, how we would pay for the program, and then the recommendation that is before you. This very dramatic, imposing photo is from the Ray fire in 2016. So as you know, wildfire smoke presents serious health concerns. Smoke and ash is made up of particulate matter, what we know as PM 2.5 and PM 10, and it's a really nearly invisible pollutant. I've included this graphic here, which shows a scale of the pollutants compared to a single strand of human hair, and it circles the circumference multiple times. So you can see that. And while wildfire smoke can affect everyone, it is seniors, children, those with cardiovascular or respiratory conditions, and pregnant women who are most vulnerable to the effects from smoke. Unfortunately, as we've all seen and experienced, wildfire season has grown to be more of a year-round event and also more intense. With that, we've seen that smoke impacts are also becoming more sustained and no longer isolated to the region where the fire occurs, like Erin mentioned, the smoke coming from an Arizona fire. So even when Santa Barbara County is fortunate enough not to have a fire affecting our region, we're still vulnerable to the smoke. As I noted in your board letter, smoke from the 2020 wildfires affected an astounding 96% of California residents. In Santa Barbara County in 2020, our agency recorded significant spikes in PM 2.5 levels during wildfires that occurred in August, September, and October of last year. Those wildfires were all outside of our county. The photos on this slide illustrate one of the smoke events last August. One of the photos is taken at Lake Los Carneros in Goleta, and the other one was near our Santa Maria office. I think one of my colleagues took that photo, who's sitting here actually. In putting together this proposed program, we wanted to address potential participants. I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. before we get to that, we know that the best protection against wildfire smoke is to stay indoors as much as possible. And that really brings home the importance of ensuring that your indoor air quality is safe and clean. The best way to achieve that is what you've heard us mention many times, creating a clean air room. A clean air room means picking a dedicated space in your home that will serve as your clean indoor air quality zone. To achieve that, you need a well-sealed environment with your windows and your doors shut, and you need to use a high-efficiency particulate air purifier known as a HEPA purifier. These devices are really beneficial. They can reduce particulate matter indoors by more than 90%. They can be purchased at a variety of retailers, online, big box stores, hardware stores, and a model that works for a small bedroom starts at approximately $75. The California Air Resources Board approves these devices for sale in the state and maintains a really robust list of approved devices. Their website is awesome. You can go to it, enter in the name, brand, or model number of a device, and it will tell you whether it's approved for sale. We have previously shared with your board our messaging on this topic, including a series of bilingual infographics, 2 of which I've included on the slide here, about using air purifiers or how to create a do-it-yourself version at home. We've shared this information broadly on our social media, news releases, media interviews, and radio ads. We also partner with public health on our smoke messaging, and they've been very helpful in sharing this information broadly as well. As you can imagine, this is one of our main talking points when talking to members of the public and the media during smoke events. During a severe smoke event, our agency is all hands on deck. As the PIO, I am the primary person who responds to the large volume of calls, emails, social media messages, voicing concerns about smoke and air quality. And I can't tell you how many times I've talked to individuals who aren't able to set up a clean air room at home. The costs for a do-it-yourself version or one you buy from the store just are not in their budget. That's always really hard to hear. And that has inspired our agency to look into options for a program like what we're bringing to you today. So, in putting together this proposed program, we wanted to address participants who would benefit from a free air purifier so that they could access this very straightforward, health protective device regardless of their ability to pay for it. Because the program would be a pilot, we also wanted to consider smaller communities in our county in order to maximize the percentage of households that could participate. We also desired to ensure that the pilot program benefited communities that have been traditionally underserved and that are home to outdoor agricultural workers whose jobs often put them on the front lines of wildfire smoke events. To choose the proposed communities for this pilot program, the main tool that we used was the state-created Cal EnviroScreen, which is a mapping tool. We also reviewed AB 1550, which provides a map of low-income and disadvantaged communities. Cal EnviroScreen compiles environmental, health, and socioeconomic data that is collected from government sources and provides metrics for pollution burden and population characteristics for each census tract. Based on the results from Cal EnviroScreen, including showing the county's highest rate of asthma, we are proposing to implement the pilot program in the communities of Guadalupe and Casmalia. They share a census tract. This pilot program would benefit residents of those communities, but obviously the goal is to expand overall awareness countywide to make this tool top of mind for all county residents. If more funding were to become available in the future, we would return to your board with proposals for other communities in the county to reach as many residents as possible. Now, on to how we would be proposing to implement this program. Pending approval by your board today, the district would work with county purchasing to assess our options for purchasing HEPA devices and replacement filters for each unit as soon as we can. We want to make the best use of public funds and maximize the number of units so that we can reach as many households as possible. Ideally, we would like to purchase approximately 1,000 devices. Just for reference, there are approximately 1,800 households in Guadalupe and Casmalia combined. This slide shows some of the specifications that we would require of that device. These specifications include it has to be certified for sale in the state, an Energy Star rating, an indicator light to indicate when the filter needs to be replaced, and quiet operation, among other specifications. CARB technical staff were very helpful in assisting us with putting together these specifications. Our goal would be to distribute these devices later this summer in Guadalupe on a weekend day. The devices would be limited to one per household on a first-come, first-served basis. Guadalupe and Casmalia residents would need to provide proof of address, whatever form of proof of address they would like to provide. And participants would also receive a refrigerator magnet with bilingual information about how to access air quality data on our website. This fire here is very dramatic. The photo shown here is from the Sherpa fire in 2016. I don't know who was driving into that, but it was not look friendly. Obviously, very crucial to the success of this program would be the outreach that we would conduct to promote it. To maximize participation in the program, we would work with multiple community, government, and media partners to promote the program across multiple platforms. It would be crucial that we use English, Spanish, and Mixteco outreach to reach all individuals who could qualify. Pre-event outreach would focus on the awareness, obviously, of the distribution day, the benefits of these devices, and how to correctly use them and when to correctly use them based on air quality data. Like I said earlier, we'd also want to make sure that individuals who are living outside of the pilot program communities also benefit from this outreach, know how to set up clean air rooms in a variety of ways, and know how to check our air quality data so they know when to set up those rooms. We would also encourage all county residents to sign up for our air quality alerts. We issue these with public health, and they can receive them either via text or email. We will also be asking any program participants to share success stories with us, and we would bring successes and lessons learned from this program to your board at a future meeting. The photo here, also taken by another colleague in the room, was from the Thomas Fire in 2017. As is stated in your board letter, we have set aside $100,000 for this program from a combination of our Clean Air Fund and our operational reserves balance. If approved today, this program would be funded and implemented in the coming fiscal year, and as part of the budget your board just approved, so thank you for that. The photo shown here is another photo from the Whittier Fire in 2017. With that, here is the recommendation that's before you today. Adopt the attached resolution authorizing the district to establish and implement the Clean Air Rooms pilot program. And now I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. You may notice I brought a little friend over here. This is just one example of mini air purifiers if you want to check it out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for that report. What a great program. It's something to be very proud of. Back to the board. Director Hartman.
Yes, two things. I know that the county ag commissioner was very supportive of this idea when I shared it with her, so I hope you'll reach out and talk to her, and I think she may have some good ideas for promotion. I'm not sure of the date, but I know Guadalupe has an open streets working with our own Ken Epperson, so that might be an opportunity to let people know about it and how to apply.
Yes, thank you, Director Hartman. We are aware of that, and we'll be working with our SB-CAG friends on participating in that event. Ideally, we would like to coincide the distribution day shortly after that event.
And as it relates to the Ag Commission's office, we have been talking about future opportunities to get the word out to the Ag Advisory Council, and she's going to put us top on the schedule in the July meeting.
That's great. Do we have any other directors that would like to speak?
Yeah, this is Julian back here in Santa Maria.
Please go ahead, go ahead.
Actually, Guadalupe's population is about 8,200, and which is fine. And it's just too bad that most people, and I know this is a pilot program, but it'd be nice to share this program with other people, especially those in Santa Maria and the farm working community. But I appreciate the effort of doing this, and just we have a very great public service group, fire and police department, that actually help us with our food distribution programs that we have in Guadalupe, which now once a month, but we have upwards of 300 people going through that line. And then as mentioned, I don't know if Supervisor Hartman mentions August 8th, which is our city 75th year anniversary, that we'll be doing a big shindig, hopefully a parade and other activities within the city of Guadalupe, and that's on a Sunday. But I just appreciate the staff and all the efforts. I'm looking forward to providing this service to the local residents. Thank you.
One thing I did want to mention, we have been working with the Housing Authority of the County of Santa Barbara. There's a grant that was submitted, the AHSC application. I apologize, I don't know exactly what the acronym is. Perhaps you all might. But we were able to incorporate some additional funding in the city or the Guadalupe application for expanding on the number of filters for that community. I view this as a pilot project to really figure out how well it works in reaching the targeted audience who spends a lot of their time in the ag fields, especially when there's fires, and needing to provide a clean air environment for them to come home to, I feel is so important. But my goal is to try to determine how we can expand this, gather our lessons learned from this pilot project if it's approved by your board, but then move forward to see if there's other opportunities, whether it's donations or other grant opportunities that we may be able to secure to expand this throughout the rest of the region.
That's a great idea. Do we have any other directors with comments, questions?
I don't see any additional hands up on Zoom.
I move for approval of the resolution. Julian?
Go ahead.
Hartman, second?
Okay. Oh, we didn't ask for public comment.
We received
No public comment?
we received no public comment. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we have a first and second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Nelson? Director Nelson, are you there? Director Sierra?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Julian?
Aye.
Osborne?
Aye.
Thank you. Director Murillo?
Aye.
Infante?
Aye.
Director Williams? Well,
Aye.
thank you. Hart?
Aye.
Hartman?
Aye.
Director Nelson, were you able to unmute?
Did I? Thank you.
And Chair Perotti?
Aye. Okay, next item will be overview of the Voluntary Clean Air Grant Initiative programs.
Discussion item H2, overview of voluntary clean air grant and incentive programs. Receive and file a presentation on the district's clean air grant and incentive program.
All right, today Mike McKay, Air Quality Specialist in our Planning Division out of our Santa Maria office, will be providing a presentation. And, we try to do this every year to put a spotlight on all of the incentives and grant funds that we've been able to get out in a voluntary way to reduce emissions proactively. And the legislature continues to put an emphasis on the use of incentive dollars to make things possible beyond what's in our regulatory authority. And as we're working, through the budget process right now, there's a lot of conversation to continue in expanding what we've already been able to secure. So Mike's going to give us a presentation on what happened this last year.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you. So good afternoon, Chair Perotti and members of the board. As Aaron said, my name is Mike McKay, and I'm with the Planning Division here at the district. Today, I'll be giving you a rundown of the district's grant and incentive programs, and I'll be covering current fiscal year funding, locations and types of grant projects, incentive programs, and then some expected funding for next fiscal year. So over the last 33 years, the district has distributed over $47 million in state and local funds for grant and incentive projects throughout Santa Barbara County. The mitigation funds in blue were collected from businesses that were required to mitigate excess emissions, and most of those funds were expended in the 1990s. The DMV funds in green and CARB funds in yellow have been our primary source of funding since that time. The intended use of these funds is to help clean up equipment that is not required to be replaced by regulation. A lot of this equipment has been in service for decades, many of which have engines with no emission controls. Our program's goal is to incentivize the use of new, cleaner technology which directly benefits businesses and community members as well as community health. This slide represents the data from Attachment 1, Table 1 of your board letter, and it shows the funding sources that we used for our program this fiscal year. Utilizing each of these sources, we're able to fund a wide variety of projects throughout the county. One of the challenges we do face are the types of projects that we can fund. For example, farmer funds are limited to agriculture projects, and community air protection funds are to be used on projects that are located in or serve low-income community areas. These areas will be explained on a later slide. So for our 2020 program, we had a 45-day application window. During that time, we received 79 applications. This was compared to 54 applications the previous year. Also worth noting is 38 of the 79 applications were first-time applicants, which was promising as it shows that our outreach is working. And speaking of outreach, our list continues to grow and currently contains over 1,100 contacts. On the last slide of this presentation, I'll have contact info for those that would be like to add it to the list or just have general questions regarding our program. So once an application was received and deemed complete, we performed a pre-inspection to confirm the location and operability of the existing equipment. This helped us determine if it would qualify as a potential project. For example, the picture on the right here is a pre-inspection photo taken in the field in a low-income area on the west side of the Santa Maria Valley. The next step was to rank the potential projects, and during this process, we used several factors for prioritization of funding. Projects in low-income communities and those with the zero-emission or near-zero-emission technology were at the top of that list. We also considered other factors like cost-effectiveness and total emission reductions. So Figure 1 of your board letter gives a breakdown of expenditures for all of our grant and incentive projects this fiscal year. And in the next few slides, I'll highlight some of those project types. So for our grant program, we were able to fund 28 projects this fiscal year. 17 were off-road, and as you can see here, 8 infrastructure, 2 school bus, and 1 marine. The top left is a marine project in the Santa Barbara Harbor, and we funded the replacement of an uncontrolled Tier 0 crane engine with a Tier 4 final engine, which is the cleanest available technology at this time. In the top right, we have an existing diesel-fueled school bus in Lompoc, which is set to be replaced with a compressed natural gas bus. The other school bus project we're working on, which is not on this slide, is an electric school bus for the Guadalupe School District. The bottom row represents 2 infrastructure projects that were funded this fiscal year. And overall, we were able to fund 8 infrastructure applicants with a total of 51 charging ports. 48 of those were level 2 and 3 were level 3. And while infrastructure projects have become very popular over the last couple of years, we continually work with all applicants to help them create a successful project in our county. Off-road equipment has historically been our most popular project type. This fiscal year was no different, with 48 of 79 applications being for off-road. These high-usage off-road projects tend to have great emission benefits when an engine with no emission controls is replaced with a Tier 4 final engine. And during a project life, we perform up to 4 separate inspections: a pre-inspection, a post-inspection, a salvage inspection, and an audit inspection, which is randomly assigned to funded projects on an annual basis and performed to confirm the project is still operating as required by the grant agreement. The images you see on the left are from pre-inspections for Bedford Enterprises and Rancho Harvest, both of which are located in the Santa Maria Valley. And the pictures on the right are post-inspection photos of the new equipment for those projects. So on the next slide, we have a short video. It's about 90 seconds, and it shows what the salvage inspection entails. So as you can see, that tractor can no longer be used in our county, or anywhere else for that matter. The salvage inspection goal is to document the destruction of the old polluting equipment by confirming the frame and engine block are rendered unusable. The state requires we document that process with pictures and videos, and it's something that must be completed prior to grantees receiving reimbursement for their project. And it's also safe to assume that witnessing these events is the most entertaining part of this job. And I'm smiling under my mask. So here we have a map of the county showing all grant project locations. The underlying light blue areas are low-income community areas as defined by the state. And in between the two large portions of blue are smaller areas you might not be able to see in Carpinteria, parts of Santa Barbara, Goleta, Isla Vista, and portions of Lompoc. All CAP-funded projects are represented by black stars, and as I noted, in order to fund a CAP project, it must be located in or serve low-income community areas. All the other projects we're able to fund are represented by the green stars. So on to our incentive programs. Old Car Buyback has been a successful program for decades and is a direct benefit to county residents. With the recent addition of 2 new dismantlers in Lompoc and the model year extension to 1997, along with more outreach, we anticipate much higher participation going into next fiscal year. The wood smoke program was also successful, and we were able to finish up the remaining funds for this fiscal year. However, there are no current state funds available to continue this program. The second year of our LEAF program was also very successful. This program incentivizes businesses and agencies to adopt clean air technology for their landscape operations, which directly improves regional air quality, benefiting both equipment operators and residents. We were able to fund 28 applicants located throughout the county, 11 commercial landscapers, 9 nonprofits, 6 public agencies, and 2 schools. And LEAF continues to receive a lot of interest, and we're hoping to secure funding to continue this popular program. So on the left is our grant and incentive decal that we have started to place on projects to raise awareness of our agency and program. And on the right are testimonials from a few recipients of grant incentive funds. So for example, DG Farming and Equipment noted that rather than limping along with a dated polluter, we now have a modern, fuel-efficient, and cleaner running tractor. These are great examples of how our grant and incentive programs are a positive impact to both business and personal lives within our community. Moving ahead to next fiscal year, this slide represents data from Attachment 1, Table 3 on your board letter. It shows proposed funding amounts we plan to utilize for our program this upcoming fiscal year. These numbers are a good estimation of what we are expecting, and we will keep the board apprised of any impacts to our grant incentive program funds as more information does become available. For our 2021 program, it's set to open in early August. We will be utilizing a 30-day application window, and this window is enough time for us to work with applicants that need assistance in submitting a complete application within that time frame. New this year, we have increased the maximum potential grant amount. In October of 2020, your board approved the APCO to approve and enter into grant agreements for up to $250,000. This is an increase from the previous maximum of $150,000. We believe this increase is especially important for applicants with large and expensive projects, especially those that fall under zero emission and near zero emission technology, as the previous maximum is sometimes not enough incentive to warrant replacement. We look forward to reviewing projects that have the potential to meet criteria for this new maximum. So in early July, we're going to be sending an email to our outreach list announcing the upcoming 2021 program with details on how to apply, requirements to qualify, and information regarding all projects, or programs rather. So here's my contact information along with email address to be added to our grant outreach list, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that great report. It's always such a great idea to remind us and the public of all of the great incentive programs that are out there and what we're doing. And I have to tell you, my grandchildren would love to have that video. They would just, boys, they're always liking to break things, so they would love that one. Okay, back to the board for questions or comments.
It's just that I am the county's representative to 3CE, which is our community choice aggregator. So in the North County, we are already part of 3CE. And there are a number of incentive programs that 3CE offers that parallels some of what is offered by the APCD. So, you're probably already on it and aware of them, but the fact is that some of the folks who wouldn't qualify for this grant would probably qualify for the ag electrification grants and other programs. And just so that you know, we have never been able to spend the reserve on the program budget at 3CE. And so, whereas you guys have money with 5 zeros after it and spend it all each time, at 3CE we have program budgets with 6 zeros behind it and are unable to spend all of it. And that's really important because the board really wants it to be spent because we want to deploy these programs, and our mission in these programs is largely to reduce GHGs. So maybe some of your success with being able to spend the money needs to be paired with 3CE's success at having the budget for it to deploy more of these. My office, my staffer, Katie, could connect you guys if there's more communication needed.
Yeah, we are meeting with them. Actually, I don't know if it was this week or next week on the zero emission bus, school bus incentive program, because those are very costly. And school districts are usually pretty tight on the amount of money they have. So even though our maximum amount has increased, it still takes more to bring those projects to fruition. So we've been working with them. I believe the meeting was this week to try to figure out how we can further partner with our program and 3CEs. And that's just one example. But anything that Katie can do to help us.
There may be some limited potential there. I think our recommendation from our staff has been to go away from the bus program and more towards, of the big ones we are doing is additional incentives for EV adoption, including public agencies. So maybe APCD needs to take the rest of its fleet and make an application themselves. Electric infrastructure, which is something you guys do too, right? Yep. Charging infrastructure. Electrifying houses and buildings, which is not your lane normally, but ag electrification. Every single person that he talks to is probably somebody that we need to also connect with 3CE. And so I think the ag electrification has a tremendous potential for you guys working together. The North County already qualifies.
Yep.
Including City of Santa Maria, including basically every place in North County except for Lompoc. But the South County will also qualify beginning in October.
Yeah. Thank you, Supervisor Williams. Alex Economy, one of the air quality specialists in our office, he works directly with 3CE and he's very knowledgeable on it, so I'll make sure to pass on this information to him too.
Just wanted to give you the addition of the budget, just so that they never plead some poverty on this. We want to deploy these programs badly.
Do we have any of the directors that would like to speak?
I see no additional hands up on Zoom.
Okay, any public comment?
We received no public comments.
Okay, then this does not require a motion, so it's just a receive and file, and thank you so much for the presentation. Okay, it looks like that might be it for the day. Under announcements, this meeting will be rebroadcast if you want to watch us on Sunday at June the 20th at 2021 at 6 o'clock? No, 5 o'clock on the county station, channel 20. And with that, we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be August 19th, 2021. We're not meeting in July? Okay, August 19th, 2021. All right. Thank you, everyone.